What about ye? 2008 Skoda Fabia. Customer complaint. Window was stuck down in the door skin. So a wee bit of a backstory. The window was stuck down in the door. Now it isn't now, it's up now. And that's because this guy came to me in a bit of a panic, really late in the evening, and it was bucketing with rain. And what he was doing was that he was trying to tape up the hole that the window had left, because the window had dropped and was stuck down in the door and he couldn't get it up. So it was a real bad night. It was bucketing with rain, and he was trying to tape what looked to be, like a bed sheet or something with electrical tape. And I says, look, that's no use at all. The rainwater is going to fly into this. He said he had a plastic sheet below it or whatever. And he says it's not going to do. And he hasn't got a garage. So late in the evening, in the middle of the week, he says, look, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll bring it into the garage and see if we can get this window up and get it locked in the up position for you, and that's your way. You can drive about. During that process, then I can see any parts that you need, what's wrong with it, and what have you. And then he says, sure, I need you to do a wee service on it as well, because as you can see with the green and all there about it, I think this car's been sitting for a while. Young lad did go to university in Liverpool, I think, and they're working from home now or something. So he started to use it again. So this car sat for maybe about a year and didn't move. So he wants to do a service, a bit of a look over and all that jazz. It hasn't been through MOT in about 18 months, because no cars have been through MOT for at least a year over here. So anyway, we'll continue on, and I'll tell you a bit more about it. So the window was stuck down in the door skin, as I said. Now, power windows on the front too, and this is a 5-door hatchback thing, and there's windy up windows in the back. So whenever I pulled the button to actuate the window, it sort of tried to move. You could hear it going, So what actually happened was the window had come off the center runner. The regulator is just one sort of pillar in the middle. So it had come off it, and then that allowed the window to sort of rotate, and it came away from the front runner and came out of the rear runner. So it had sort of popped out. It had sort of turned and rotated itself a wee bit. And whenever you pulled on the button for it to go up, you could see like a bit of a corner of the window trying to get up. So it just went and stopped, and it went down again. So the window was jammed because it had rotated and fell out. So because I've already had this door card off and I know what's actually wrong with it, it needs a regulator. So the cables haven't snapped, and we'll see later on exactly what the problem is or was. Now this is an aftermarket regulator. I got them. And I did tell him that these regulators, the aftermarket regulators are hit and miss. They really are. Some of them are absolutely terrible. Some of them don't fit, and they're just rubbish. Some of them, okay, do the job. And you can clearly see when you look at them, they're nothing like the OE. Some of them are pretty grim. But this is a 2008 car, and if this does the job, it'll do. Now, I can see when I look at it, it's, it is a lot flimsier than the OE one. The cable's there, and the window windy thing is there that the motor goes on. So that's basically it. It's just one pillar, and so that just lays up and down, and that catches the window, and there's just 2 mounts on it. So we'll get the door card off. So a wee caveat with any door card any door card on any car, you're always going to have fixing bolts at the handle. So the handle is the bit that you pull on. So in behind this handle, there's going to be fixing bolts, the main fixing bolts, and the rest of it in this case here is just poppered in. So in this case here, there's a bit of mold in here, and it's, you know, it's like a clamshell job, and you would hardly know that it comes apart, and it's pretty darn tight, I can tell you. So you have to give it a good old yanking with your favorite trim tool, you know. So once you get her going, you know, you don't be gentle. So there's T30 Torx in there and down in there. So at the bottom of the door card, there's a wee small Torx there. You can hardly see it, and there's its mate there. So we'll get them to you. And while we're down here, we'll just grab it and give it a pull. Door cable here. And there's a wire here for the wee LED. So that's the wire for the switches that I had already disconnected. So clearly that's attached to the door card. When you're pulling the door card off, you need to disconnect that wire, and the door pull cable. The speaker here is missing because there's there. So I had already that removed and disconnected electrically. And the thing about this speaker is there's 4 rivets hold it in, so it's not screwed in, so I had to drill them out. So that's why I didn't put the speaker back in again. Whenever this repair is complete, we'll do that. So this is a bit of a pain, this particular one, in the sense that, so we've got the window motor there, and this grey bit that the window motor is attached to is actually on the inside of the door. So that's not on the outside, so that just doesn't come off. That's actually in the inside of the door. So it's a good idea to remove the speaker and get your hand in. So over here, we can get our hand in over here. So these 2 top spuds here, these 2 grommets, so we'll just pull them out. And that gives us access to the carriage that holds the window. So now we'll have to bring the window down so that we can see the 2 fixing screws, and there are a couple of Torx the same as that. So that Torx there is the upper mount of the regulator, and then there's one directly below that. So we need to get these 2 Torx heads in view. So what we'll have to do is reconnect the window again. So with the window dropped down sufficiently so that we can see these Torx screws on the, so they're like clamps that hold the window, and those Torx screws hold those clamps in place. There's a bit of rubber, you know, in the window to protect the bottom of the window. So that's what grabs the window and pulls it up and down. So this is our problem. We can see that the window is able to rock about, and if we allowed the window to go down any further, it would jump out of the runner again. So we'll get these 2 loosened up. Now we don't need to take them out completely. Just backed off until they're nearly ready to come out. So we'll grab this window and pull her up. So hopefully it might stay there for a second. And we'll make it stay there. So we're at the bottom part of the door, the lower part. So the window motor's just above, out of shot above us there. Right. When I got this car, as I said, this window was fully down and dropped inside the door skin, and it had turned, rotated, and come out of the runners. However, it was still attached to the two clamping mechanisms that you saw as you saw me, undoing the Torxes, which were up there behind the two rubber grommets. So what I had to do to get this window back up again was to release the window from the mechanism. So I had to, and sometimes you got to do this sort of carry on, I had to drill 2 holes here in the skin. So you got to do what you got to do. Sometimes you don't want to do things like that, but it's not going to make any difference to this skin. So with my Torx T30, I was able then to go in there, loosen the screw that looks like that, that was clamping the window on either side there. So I lowered it and I was able to see through the speaker hole, which is over there, roughly whereabouts it was. And so there was no movement in the motor. Well, it was just going out. It was just going, it was just sort of moving tiny wee bits. So that's how I released it. I was able then to, it was quite difficult actually, because the window had dropped and rotated and fell off the runners. So I had to sort of twist it back round again, put it up, and then put it back into the runners again. And that's how I got the window up. I then was able to get this mechanism to go up on the motor, on the cable, and then reattached it, and that just made sure that the window wouldn't drop again on him. So he was able to drive the car about. So sometimes you gotta do what you have to do. Right, I think we can go ahead and get this motor off here. We're going to need this bit. Ping! Upper regulator fastener, upper fastener. And lower fastener. And we'll start taking these boys here out. Hey, let's see if we can get this thing out. Hey, here's our old one then. We'll take a wee look at it. So this plastic thing is just able to go where it wants. So there's our 2 Torx that clamp our window. There's the 2 clampy things, and we can see that this thing is completely broken. It's there we go. It's just too long new. Right, so first of all we'll have to get this plate off and swap it over onto the new one. We'll get these wee foam things, wee foam washers, wee dampeners off. We'll put them back on again. There's the third one that fell off in all the excitement. So a few wee tabs to squeeze here. So we'll get the new one over into the same sort of orientation, match it up with the old one, So what I've noticed here is those wee tabs that I squeezed aren't on this new one. So what I might do is I might put the motor on out here rather than on the car, because you don't want, see this wee boy here with the cable around it. See if that starts unraveling on you. You really are bait. You'll have some time trying to get that wound back on again, so that it doesn't catch and stuff. So this wee cable tie is there so that that doesn't happen in transit as it's baiting about the box, you know. So once this is snipped, it is yours, you know. So you don't want that. See, it's going to want to jump out there. So you want to make sure that's wanting to spring up and unravel. So we need to get our cover plate on to make sure that doesn't happen, you know. And as I say, there is no spring tabs, so that'll hold it there for us. And we'll get the motor on this plate here. So remembering that our cog is on there, I'll get this lined up. Making sure it's clicked in at the back, but I'm holding this the whole time here. Don't let go of this in case that cable, if this comes apart, I drop this here, so that cable will unravel off that spool, and we'll be in a world of hurt. Get a couple of these bios in here. Okay, motor attached successfully. Happy with that. We'll get a couple of these here, wee boys here, loosened. You can see these are 10mm nuts as opposed to Torx on this aftermarket version. We'll just get them loose. Right, here we go. See if we can get this contraption in here, and I'll just give it a bit of a dousing with spray grease here and there, you know. So we'll see if this thing is going to go in with the motor attached. There they are. Not three bad. Let me see if I can get one of the upper fixings in first of all. My hand in around the speaker head. The speaker hole. Where is it? Ah. I think we can get this into place. So if you notice, I kept the top fixer loose, and they're just all in a couple of threads. So you know that helps us line everything up. And I have my arm in behind through the speaker hole, and we'll get the rest of them in. And we'll remove our window holding device. And we'll teeter it back down again. Give our clamps a nip up. Don't need to swing on them now, not too go mad with that, because they're clamping a piece of glass. Reconnect our motor. When our switch reconnected, we'll just check the operation. Not teabag. Get the speaker riveted back into place. Replace a few broken clips. we'll get her screwed up. And finally, probably the most important part is you give this window a clean, because you don't give the customer back his car with your fingerprints all over the window. Final operation check. If she's a wee bit sticky, we can get a wee bit of silicone spray in the runners. Not too much. Not too bad. So there we go. Happy with that. Job done. Not too bad. You know. Actually, the biggest problem was the bit that I didn't film. You know, the getting the window out of its, you know, when it fell down into the door skin. You know, the first occasion. So that was actually more tricky. I thought I was going to have to smash a window to get it out. It was jammed in, you know. So, anywho, I didn't get this off eBay or anything like that. I just got this out of my local factors, this Electric Life. Whenever you get regulators, the aftermarket, you know, they call different makes and wonderful names and all that jazz. It says on the box it's made in Italy, it's not made in China. The beauty about, the reason why I get it from the factors is, you know, well, I have a trade account and stuff, but, you know, if this didn't do, and as long as it didn't fit it or attempt to fit it, you know, you can just take it straight back and say it's no use, because these things are hit and miss, and it's, you know, they're all roughly about the same sort of quality, but it's just some of them don't fit, you know, whether they're just marked wrong for, you know, they don't do that particular model or something that you have. Maybe that's the reason why they don't fit or something. I don't know, but there's some destructions there, and yeah, so there is a wee bit of guidance there. A wee bit of broken English there. It's recommended not to remove the PVC gear clamp until mating with the engine in order to avoid possible unroll of the cable during assembly. Well, that's that cable tie thing. Engine meaning motor, I guess. So it's multiple lingos there. Français, la fenêtre, and all that. Okay, that's it for this one. Maybe you get something out of it. All the best. Ciao.